Yo, what is good, everyone? Friends, OPN community, what is good? Let me fix this freaking mic. Sorry. All right, so I'm a couple minutes late. How are you all doing? All my wonderful friends. So we're broadcasting live right now on my public profile and in our OPN community. So if you are not a part of our OPN community, please make sure that you just hit me with some type of like or some type of emoji, and I'll give you a private invite, and I'll make sure I put that in the comments. Oh my God! All right, so I ended up seeing some friends this past weekend up in Sedona, and we went for a hike, and we totally did the anti-dietitian healthcare worker thing, and went out and thought like, oh, it's an hour hike, it's not going to be a big deal. Like, let's just go. And I didn't wear sunscreen, so this is why I look like I've just been blasted with red. So for that reason, I'm sorry that I am super sunburned. um, so I was having a lot of really great conversations with a lot of our inner circle this past weekend, and really one self conversation with myself as I was going on this hike. And it was something that was a really good reminder for me, and something that I really want to remind you all of when we're looking at navigating a new health journey and looking at navigating a life that we're really proud of. And this is something that I constantly struggle with. And so I am by no means the perfect person with this, but I can tell you that when we are looking at your success, it has a lot to do with your support system. And that's the thing that we're going to navigate today. And so as you were coming in, something resonates with you, or I mentioned something that you really enjoy, make sure you throw a comment, throw a heart in there. Let's make sure that we have some engagement around this, because I do think that this is something that a lot of people struggle with. And so our big topic today is how to be your biggest fan. Here's a little bit of a backstory, because my wife and I talk about this a lot, and we talk about supporting one another, and we talk about trying to navigate the process of being a good husband and wife, being a good parent, and then also, like, sometimes the last thing is like trying to be a good person. And we were talking about that process, and it was something that I was also talking with our inner circle about, because this is one thing that a lot of people struggle with, and I'm part of this too. Because how many of us are our biggest fans? Right? Raise your hands, right? How many of us also at the same time are our biggest enemies? The types of things that we tell ourselves. We talked a little bit last week about stories. We talked a little bit about stories that we create for ourselves and what that means for us and how we step into that shame space. It's the same thing here, because when we're looking at navigating a new health journey, and this is something that I oftentimes see with people who get onboarded in the program right away, it's like, hey, can we get your significant other on our video call? Can we all get together as a collective unit? Because sometimes when you're navigating something new, it's a lonely process. It's a very lonely process. And the way that we need to get to a point where we are comfortable with progression is navigating things that can help us be our biggest fans. And so, what we're going to try to dive into today is those top three things that I think are so important. And so, as we do that, here's our first one: start with confidence. I really love this. Anytime that someone ever gives me any sort of idea that they struggle with confidence, and if you're not part of our Facebook group, let's make sure that we do that, because what I have them do is I have them share their story. So anytime that someone's like, "Hey, Des, like, I just want to work on confidence, man. I want to work on confidence in my marriage, in my workplace. I want to look in the mirror and feel good about what I see." The first thing that I have them do is anytime that they engage with some sort of coaching call, I'll have them jump in the group afterwards and give their takeaway. And so their takeaway post usually is like, hey, what are some of the big wins? What's some of the feedback that you're getting during this process? And then also posting some of the action items that they're working on. So from a confidence standpoint, if someone tells me like, hey, I really struggle with this, I'll have them pop in video. I'll have them pop on a video. I'll have them usually execute this consistently. And that's the big thing here. So if you are looking to be your biggest fan, if you are looking to navigate better self-love, confidence has to be a part of this picture. And I say this again, like, be uncomfortable and then repeat it one time every 365 days. Because for you, being uncomfortable with your status quo is a very good thing. Because if you're uncomfortable with your behaviors and your actions, then you are pushing your limits. And by default, you are engaging in more confidence. 100%. When I started this whole process, like, I didn't like getting on video. And now for me, even during a day where I'm not feeling it, it's like, you know what? Like, this is that consistency factor. This is for me that thing that helps me be confident in my life, that also carries into other areas of my life that have a lot to do with my emotional well-being. And so that's our number one. Our number two, hit yourself over the head with gratitude and then do it and do it and do it over again. Because the more that we can get into a place of being respectful and being cognizant of the things that we are thankful for and the things that we have and the things that we possess, the more that our energy and our concentration goes to those places. I mean, for anyone who's ever done this, like you're looking for a new car and all of a sudden that same new car pops up everywhere. You know, that's something that's called a reticular activating system, or RAS. And so the cars have always been there. Your focus is just in that area. And it's the same thing here. So if you're navigating trying to eat better, if you're navigating trying to exercise more, trying to work on your emotional and mental well-being, the consistency factor matters, but at the same time, like having gratitude for the process. Because when you're able to get to a point where you've crushed a certain goal, like people get to see the fruits of your labor through the outcome, but they don't see the process. And so if you're not your biggest fan throughout the process, if you're not your biggest fan throughout navigating some of the hardship of trying to figure it out on your own or trying to work through some failure, that's where that lies. And I think it's so important because it offers you an opportunity to see failure. I put it in quotes because I always say this to a lot of our inner circle. We're only trying to fail forward here. We're only trying to learn from some of these perceived failures, because what has happened in the past is usually when people fail, they quit. And if you stay in a place of gratitude for the process, if you stay in a place of gratitude and compassion for yourself, then we can actually make some real changes. So that's our second one. Now, our third one, and we're going to kind of leave it with this, is to document the process. Yeah, I'm big on this. I think I probably have it somewhere. But gratitude journal and being able to journal after a really tough day. It's not necessarily something that a lot of men learn. Primarily when I talk to women about it, like they're way more open to journaling their process. And when I talk to men about it, it's a little bit different. You know, they don't really know how to feel about it. It's talking about your feelings. Like, Des, like, do I have to do this? Yes, you do have to do this, because not only does research show that being able to recount things that are positive throughout your day are going to help you in the long run, but it's also an opportunity for you to see that as you document the process, there are wins, because your only comparison is literally to yourself when you first started this process. And I talk about this from a business perspective, because what I'm doing is obviously running a business, yet at the same time, what I'm doing even more is trying to be my authentic self. And that's the way that I look at this. And that's the thing that I want to push you all to think about in reference to creating a better life for yourself. That better life could be, again, health. That better life could be being really authentic in the type of work that you do. That better thing could be better connection with your family members. It's being a better person, a better father, mother, significant other, a better employee, a better business person. It's the same thing here. And so if you're not documenting your process, you don't have an opportunity to actually see the wins in which you are progressing. And so when we're looking at these three things, again, if you are trying to do things for others' affirmation, it's just one of those things, like, look at it. Because at the end of the day, like, you can have a bunch of fans, but if your most important fan is not you, then there's going to be very, very little fulfillment in this process. And so if you learned anything from me today, anything in the world, be your biggest fan. And in order to do so, we have to work on confidence. We have to stay consistent with that. We have to hit ourselves over the head with constant gratitude. We have to acknowledge some of the things that we have and some of the things that we are thankful for. And a lot of that has to do with your personality and what you offer to the world and what your values are. And our third thing, again, going back to this, documenting the process, being able to share that process with yourself and being able to ask yourself if you can stamp that day with something that you're really proud of. And if not, how are you going to do that in the next day? Okay, so I hope this resonates with you all. Again, as you're looking at this and you're watching it on replay, go and give me a heart if you're willing to be your biggest fan today. Even if you're watching this live right now, give me a heart right now if you are willing to start being your biggest fan. Because if you're not your biggest fan, then who will be? Okay, so much love to you guys. Happy Monday. I just wanted to send this message out as something that was resonating with me and something that I'm currently working on myself. Love, peace.